Okay, so this video is for me applying to a small privately owned doctor's office. Um, so yeah, let's get started. Um, I've been in the customer service industry for about 6 years and counting, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. I started off in a smaller mom and pop type of business where I was taught how important customer service is and how to make every guest feel welcome as if they're part of the company or family, as we like to call it. I continue to learn more and more about people every single day, and it's one of the many reasons why I strive to help others. My most recent experience was working as a hostess within the hotel and hospitality business. There's so many different obstacles that come with customer service and attempting to make everyone happy, but these challenges make every day unique and give specific opportunities for me to really connect with every single person that I meet. Um, with that being said, I graduate in May with a Bachelor's of Science degree. And I chose this path because it'll lead me to the clinical career that I had a goal of working in, where I can help people improve mentally, emotionally, and physically. Um, and that's why I wanted to really interview with your company. I feel that it would be a great opportunity for me to advance my skills as well as a way to continue to challenge myself and build my experience with so many different people. Um, I feel like I would be a good fit because I'm always willing to work day and night to accomplish what we need to accomplish and to make everyone feel comfortable with every single thing that they're doing. I know so many people dread coming to the doctor's office every single day, and I don't want that to be their experience. So, this just also gives me an opportunity to not only do what I love, but change the lives of so many. And I feel like working with a smaller business such as yours will give me more opportunity to work one on one with people who come in and patients who really need help rather than working for a bigger business like Kaiser where everything's run through a computer and you don't really get that one on one time with your doctor that you really, really want. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'd be a good fit to the company. So, I'm graduating from CSULB in May, and I'm really proud of what I've accomplished within the 4.5 years of attending school. I've been a full time student with a major in health science and a minor in American Sign Language and Deaf Cultures. This has been extremely hard considering the fact that I was working two jobs, taking care of my mom as well. And considering everything, this is not what I'm specifically proud of. This is just a backstory leading up to the one moment that I've actually felt like super, super proud of myself. So, I've been really proud of what I've learned and applied along the way in college. It's one thing to just learn everything, but it's another to go out and apply it and try to work with what you've learned. And I've really learned that helping others in the smallest ways is so important, and it's just a small act that you can do that can impact someone's life so greatly. So, um, with that said, I'm gonna explain my story. I was at the DMV one day, um, and the DMV is a horrible, horrible place. No, I'm just kidding. But the DMV is not fun when you're waiting for lines. Um, and I was there and I saw two deaf people who weren't able to really communicate with the supervisor there. And the supervisor at the DMV was getting extremely agitated. He looked like he didn't even want to deal with them anymore because they obviously couldn't talk to him. And it was just a bad situation. And I saw what was going on, and I didn't really. I was thinking twice about interfering because it's a delicate situation to really struggle between communication and things like that. And the deaf community is just so underrepresented, and they have like a lack of basic means of communication. So it was really hard for me because I didn't know if I should go interrupt to help. But I used my gut feeling and I went up to help. I asked the two deaf people if they wanted me to interpret for them. Um, I'm not certified in any way, and I made sure I let them know because that could go wrong, if I didn't say exactly what they wanted me to say. So I made sure to let them know, and they said that it was fine and they needed some help. So the DMV employee was raising his voice at the two deaf guests, so I ended up interrupting and asked if they needed my help. They said, yes, please. And I definitely tried to help the communication means between both of them. Um, the deaf guest was wanting to take his DMV test, his driving test, his written one. And that's really hard to do in the middle of the DMV because they have to use a computer screen, a big old like version TV screen with a VCR, and it's just really bad because people will bump into you and then you get distracted and you're missing what the person is signing. So it was just a bad situation, and I wanted to tell the DMV employee that it was hard, and if it was possible to get a different room so that the person could interview in there, because this person had not passed over and over and over because it was just such a hard place to take a test. So I definitely communicated that with them, and the DMV person said like, sure, that's easy, that's an easy fix. So they set up a room, but they were also trying to charge the deaf guest again because you can fail 3 times and then they charge you again another $35. And I let them know that he said it was only his fifth time taking it, so he had already paid the $35 again. So um, that was another situation. So um, it was just a very hard situation for me to see, but I was so proud of myself for helping. Communication is just such an important thing, and the barrier just hurt me. So I'm so happy that I was able to help him pass his test and explain his struggles. I would have never been able to do this if I didn't learn about communication and disparities in the world within my college career. So that just really made me so proud of myself that I've stuck through, you know, and was able to help someone. Um, if my coworker was ever stealing, I would first off report the situation to my direct manager. If my manager was stealing, I would obviously have to go level up, but hopefully that would never happen. But if anyone were to ever steal at work, I would definitely report the situation. It's not ethical. It's just something so bad to do. So I would definitely like write a statement to HR if I had to. Depending on the situation, I would definitely go higher up to make sure I report it. So yeah. Um, I believe that conflict in the workplace can be resolved through basic communication. It's always important to focus on the events that happen and the behaviors of each person rather than focusing on the personality of that person or why they act like this or why they act like that. That's not going to resolve any problems. So, you know, personality can't be readily changed. So it's more important to focus on what happened and how we can move past it, you know. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was a greeter or hostess for a restaurant in a hotel. The servers are constantly fighting and taking each other's tables, even though they're assigned to people, for any opportunity to make money. And each server gets angry, and that causes argument. I have pulled both servers aside before, and the first thing I did was ask them, you know, why each person was here and if they would like me to get a manager to help resolve the situation as well. Um, but we were all adults, so we were able to have that conversation. I asked the first server, like, hey, why are you here? I'm here to make money, provide for my family. So I said, why do you think this person's here? And they said, oh, same thing. And I'm like, okay, so you guys are both here to make money. It's not fair for one of you or any of you to take each other's tables. And I think they had a mutual understanding that everyone's here for the same thing. And they realized that they saw each person's point of view and they communicated effectively, and we apologized to each other, and the whole situation was resolved. The manager was aware of what was going on and was okay with us talking about it without the manager there as mediation, because sometimes it's important to be able to resolve your own situations before having to go bother a manager. But it definitely depends on how bad the situation is. So that's how one example of like a conflict resolution in my workplace. um I have failed before. I'm human. But I was offered a higher position at one of my old jobs, and I took the promotion. Very good thing. Um, I was given so many tasks, so many new things to do, and I was so excited because I love challenges. I love to try to work myself so much. And I was doing pretty well. I feel like I was accomplishing many of the goals, many of the standards that were set for me. And the manager wanted me to control sales as well. That's something that I was not familiar with, and it was really hard. I wasn't given any guided information or any ways to do it efficiently. But I tried my best to research. I went home, I looked up ways to raise sales in a restaurant setting, in a customer service setting, and I wasn't able to improve the sales of the store to the extent that they wanted. So I didn't reach the goal. And at first, I was super disappointed because I don't like failure. I dread it. But I think I handled it in a good way. I kind of used my disappointment to fuel myself to try again and try again and try again to make things better, to get to that goal that we wanted. But I ended up communicating with my manager because I've learned that communication goes such a long way. Um, I wanted to set more attainable goals, something that I can actually accomplish. And I asked for advice, to raise team morale because that's where it all starts. It all starts with your team. So, that's what I first did. And I asked if there was any room to create like incentive for my coworkers. Because incentive, hey, we're going to have a party if we meet this goal. Everyone's going to be like, yes, a party. And then, everything's just going to go uphill from that point. So that's actually what I did to improve from my failures. But it was so hard. It's hard to get knocked down, but you always got to get back up. So it ended up being like a very positive experience for me over time, and it made me learn that I need to ask for help when I need to ask for help, and that I'm not able to do everything alone. As much as I want to just research and be a student, I have to try, to also communicate and just tell people when I'm having a hard time to do things. So I have a degree in health science, community health, and a minor sign language. So the degree has prepared me in so many ways for the real world that everyone talks about. I've learned to communicate and like prioritize, persuade, and just I learned how to learn, if that makes sense. But it's very important to be able to learn from every experience that you have. That really allowed me for the best impact in life, and I've learned how to make programs to improve health and programs to ensure information is relayed properly to different populations and subgroups and um, very many like disparities. We've learned how to cover those and how to try to minimize it because disparities are so hard to minimize. Someone from somewhere else may not get the same information just because they have that communication barrier, just because they have any type of barrier in life, and they all are kind of interrelated. So I've learned so much from my health science degree that would help me in my clinical background, and I feel like I have a really big understanding of different cultures and different people, and how just growing up somewhere else can really affect how you see um, Western medicine and how you see going to the doctors. So I think my degree has really prepared me a lot. I've learned that our world is our world, so we need to really encourage everyone to stay healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. It's really hard to do, but I think that's really why I want to work in the clinical field. We need everyone to really just grow together. We can't just leave someone in the dust. So, I think it's really important to do all of that work. And yeah. So, my biggest strength as a human I would say, is my caring soul. I know it sounds so cliche, but I really am compassionate about what I do and what I want to do. And I think that I'm so strong minded and strong willed that I will never give up. As much as it's hard to say, I'll never give up. I feel like I will try my hardest to do what I really want to do. So I think that's a strength because, what I want to do will benefit many people. I really do want to help and encourage and just change how people see things. So I think that that's like one of my strengths personally. I mean, I can always bring up the fact that I'm organized, but everyone says that, and there's always a little clutter somewhere. So I think that I have done really well with just persisting and continuing even when times get hard. So I think that's something that makes me a little stronger every single day. And one of my biggest weaknesses is not being able to say no. That one's funny because a lot of people say that, but I just want to help everybody. So it's kind of hard for me personally to say no. I mean, just today I had a homeless transient come into our restaurant, and I was nervous because sometimes they can get crazy. Some of them are on drugs. Some of them, haven't ate for days, so they're delusional. But I was really nervous. But I tried to keep my cool, which is hard for me. But I stopped and I looked at him and I asked him what he was here for, and he said he was hungry. So I grabbed something that wasn't expensive and we throw away when it gets, when it's expired. I just grabbed a carton of milk and a banana and a cereal, right? A little carton of cereal that you kind of have in elementary school. And I grabbed a plastic spoon and I gave it to him, right? Because personally, like this guy, he's hungry and I see that. I asked him to stay outside, so that security doesn't have to barge in and grab him and take him out. But, I think my biggest weakness is saying no. I just have that compassion for others even when I probably should hold off on it. So that's something that I'm really working on. I know I don't want to say no to everyone, but it's a little hard for me because I feel like I put myself in everyone's situation and I kind of judge what I do based off of that, and that's hard for me. If I was homeless, I'd want someone to give me milk and cereal. So, yeah, I paid for it after. Best $5 I spent, best $8 I spent with tax. But yeah, um, my decisions are definitely based off of my strengths and weaknesses. As I said earlier, gave someone cereal to help them out, and I feel like I really do care. So those are my strengths and weaknesses. It's hard to talk about, when you're really thinking about yourself. But thank you for this opportunity, and I really appreciated everything. And yeah.